I missed my bronze by 0.7 seconds. It was horrible. It was just a touch. To me, it's always that what if, right? For a lot of athletes, that's just the way it is.
Meet Theresa Goh, Singapore's Paralympic pioneer and two-time former world record holder. Born with spina bifida, she found freedom in the water and strength in every stroke. Across 4 Paralympic Games, including an amazing bronze in Rio in 2016, she's proven that courage, grit, and heart can rewrite what's possible.
The medal itself has a sound. This one is just for the blind athletes who can't see what color it is. Gold sounds a bit higher pitched and louder. Braille on the back, event on the bottom, engraved. People have just put really strongly this message of success being the best, but it's really harmful in the end, especially when you place such thoughts in young athletes' minds, because then it's tied to their self-worth. There's no one there to support if they eventually don't reach number one.
What gives you confidence today?
Knowing that I can do what I set my mind to, aside from walk, but but I think everything else that I do set out to achieve, I'm almost confident that I will get it. The deep sense of trust in self. I don't have to depend on anybody's input or what people think
beautiful.
Of me. I don't really care what people think of me. I remember I touched the wall. When I turned around, I saw the blocks. I was so happy, feeling like a weight had been lifted.
Theresa, how are you?
Really good. Thank you for having me.
I'm super pumped that you're here. Now, for those that may not know you, a few people, I want you to give a quick introduction before we turn back the pages of time, please.
I am Theresa Goh. I am a former Paralympic swimmer in Singapore. I used to hold 2 world records, probably 1 Asian record somewhere. And I won the bronze medal in the Rio Paralympic Games in 2016 for the 100 meters breaststroke SB4 category.
Amazing. Well, can you just show us this
Yes.
beautiful piece of artwork? Is the camera picking it up, Isaac? Just make
Where
sure.
do I go? There?
Yeah, there. A bit lower. That's
Lower?
it. Higher.
Higher.
Okay.
Like that.
Beautiful. Yeah, perfect.
So it's usually they give you a little pin to just, if you have like a formal wear. I think Australia has like a really nice blazer.
Yes.
But we don't have much of it. Yeah. So it's for that.
Just to wear on your lapel on the
some
jacket.
extra, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the medal itself. So I've dropped my box a couple
By the way,
times.
let's see the box, because this is meant to represent.
It's like a Brazil nut.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. But why I say that is listen, I've always dreamed about winning a medal at the Olympics, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's stunning.
Well crafted.
It's amazing. Okay, now show us this.
So the medal itself has a sound. Not all the medals are like that. This one is just for like the blind athletes who can't see what color it is.
Yes.
So they can hear it. Gold sounds a bit higher pitched and louder. I guess it depends on the number of balls they put inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So mine sounds like that. Yeah.
Truly, truly, truly amazing. And then it has Braille on the back, right?
Yes. Braille on the back, and there's event on the bottom, engraved.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I remember which one I swam.
Yeah. Well, in case you could be in multiple, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, it's also like logistically, I think about it. Wow, must be difficult. If you miss one or you forget to print one, then it's
They can't get it wrong. They can't get it wrong. Well, I'm so honored and privileged that you brought that, because that is very special. Getting to go to the Olympics is one thing, but getting on the podium is completely another.
Definitely. I think I as a young athlete, I never really thought about it too much, all I wanted was to just have fun in the water.
Yeah.
I mean, in the pool, it's just a feeling of freedom, and I don't think I really can get that anywhere else. On land, it's steps, and I feel hindered. In the water, it's just a huge amount of freedom, and I can go wherever I want. And so to me, swimming really was just a feeling of freedom. This sport that gave me that, and I was just lucky I did well enough in it to continue for 20 years. Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, look, as a former athlete myself, I think what people don't understand is how much hard work and dedication goes into it, which is really huge. Now, if you don't mind, what I want to do is I want to unpack your story growing up, because I always feel that people in their journeys and their careers, it starts with your childhood and it never really leaves you. So let's go back a little bit and tell me about your early days growing up, and what did you fall in love with, and when did sport become prevalent?
I mean, I was the firstborn child to my parents, so being a child with a disability, I think for them everything was new. Even when I think my mom was getting her gynae checkups, there wasn't any indication that I would be anything but an able-bodied child. So when I was born, they took me away. I think it was the first time they really felt like, oh, what's up? Something might be different. Something might be off, And that was the start of really a childhood of a lot of hospital visits. And the hospital became my second home almost, at least for the first couple of months. And I think I had my first surgery at 3 months old. Later on, a couple along the way, I broke my leg bone from being too careless, crawling around, and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think just got so comfortable in the hospital that I wasn't too afraid of it. I guess that's a good thing. And later on, my parents really their main importance for them was to get me independent. And I think that's really logical and practical of them,
Yeah.
Think of my future. And I think a lot of parents with kids with disabilities tend to go to the really overprotective route,
Extreme,
you know, and they just bubble wrap them, provide everything for them, and make sure that they don't have to do anything on their own. And I think that really hinders the future for them. For me, whatever I could do on my own, my parents made sure I could. So stuff like, simple things, like light switches, being able to access the sink, brush my teeth on my own.
Yeah.
Even going to school, though there's a little bit of privilege there because we could afford to move houses a couple of blocks nearer to school.
Okay, lovely.
So I got to go to school by my own.
Did you go to a regular school?
Yes, mainstream school.
Okay, great.
So I think another thing also is the idea of mainstream versus special ed school.
Yeah.
I think it is no shame in any or either, right? I think
I
it's
agree.
just understanding which is best suited to you.
Yeah.
I think sometimes with some people, the automatic assumption is that if you're disabled, you go to a special ed school.
Exactly.
Which is quite harmful,
Well, in Singapore, I wasn't sure because when I grew up in the UK, my high school was amazing. It was such a collective group of people. So I think there were 3 kids in my year that were in wheelchairs. And we had someone with dwarfism and then you have crazy people like me as well, so I love that. Yeah. And then when did you then first realize that you liked sports?
Swimming was the first introduction. I think it's just like every weekend with my family, we just go to the pool, and in Singapore, every stone's throw is a swimming pool, right?
Yeah.
So it was the same for us, we just wanted to play. And then later on, I think my dad started teaching me how to swim a little bit more proper and keeping my head above the water, not drown. And one of the days, there was a volunteer from the Singapore Disability Sports Council, where I'm working at now. And the volunteer spoke to my dad and said, I think she has a lot of potential. Do you want to bring her for the national swimming meet coming up?
How old were you?
Like 11 or 12. So, I started swimming proper at 12, but I think the volunteer met my dad about 10 or 11 or something like that.
I want to touch upon that because I think that if a child has some form of success early on, it helps give them confidence for their teenage years, and so I think it's very timely that you met that person at that delicate
Timely.
Because those are your formative years.
Yeah.
So then did you go straight into a competition then?
I went into nationals, yes, national
Straight away.
competition. Yeah.
Wow.
No time to lose, but
Literally into the deep end, yeah, literally.
yeah, but I did start swimming from 5, so
Okay.
it was not a new activity for me.
Yeah.
It was just like transitioning into competition. It was different. I joined the swimming program that SDSC had, and it was 3 times a week or something, and that's like nothing really compared to going up to 13 sessions a week at the highest.
Can you
point.
explain that? Because I swam and nowhere near your level, but at the time I was swimming, 3 times before school, 3 times after school, and technique training on Sunday.
Yeah.
And, there's a big difference between training 3 times a week to 13 times a week, right?
It's huge. It's like you can't expect that to be a straight jump, right? It has to be gradual. And I think for me, I'm really grateful because the whole journey was really smooth, really. From 99 when I started to 2019, I had some ups and downs, sure, but most of the journey was really smooth.
And were your parents taking you each time?
Yeah, my dad.
We've got to give a shout out to him because that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And my dad was always the one who has to wake earlier than me.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have trainings at like 6, so he has to be up at 5 something.
Yeah.
And making sure I'm awake and and then making sure I go to training. So I mean, I definitely attribute a lot of it to my dad because if some of the mornings, if his alarm doesn't go off, I'll just don't wake me up, and I'll get to sleep some more, and then I'll apologize to the coach later on. It's just like as a kid, you just want to take every opportunity to not go to training sometimes.
Of course.
But I think it's especially the earlier parts of my sporting career, there was not that idea of aiming for something.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, it was still just swimming because I was expected to do so. It was almost like a just go with the flow kind of thing.
Did you ever get to the point where you thought, I'm tired of looking at a black line up and down? Because a lot of kids drop out of swimming, right?
Yeah. Especially when they hit 16 or 17, when they have to go to poly or JC. I think it gets really difficult. And again, I say I'm really lucky because I had huge parental support, and I did take my O-levels the same year as I think my first Paralympic Games. So I've been to 4 Paralympic Games: Athens,
amazing,
Beijing, London, Rio.
Yeah.
So the first Paralympic Games was 2004. I had my O-levels after I came back from Athens, and then had to go choose JC or poly. Decided that maybe poly is better because there's a bit more freedom of time. And then went to the design course, which was a huge mistake because I had so much projects to do. I thought I had no exams, which meant better, but I was wrong. So I went into design school, and I dropped out of poly after 1 semester because I couldn't really balance both.
It's a lot. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot, and really not for anyone. I think those student athletes who can balance studying and sport is truly amazing because I can't do it. Yeah. And I think it's about knowing yourself, right? I think if I knew that I cannot handle it, it was a good choice for me to drop out of school first and focus on swimming, because I think for me, education is something that's lifelong and something we can potentially go back into a bit later on.
Correct.
But sport is dependent on your body, you have
a small window.
Especially swimming, I think it's so physical. So I did decide to drop out of poly, and I went into swimming full time after that. In 2004, it was my first Paralympic Games, right? It was also...
How old were you at the time? Remember?
Well, 17.
Yeah. So you're a very delicate age, right?
Yeah.
And can you just explain to the audience that may not truly understand, when you're doing sports, it's a lifestyle, because you're having to think about your sleep, your nutrition, your weight, right? Because there's an optimum weight that you're swimming at. Just give an overview of that, because people may not understand that.
I think you imagine yourself at 17 when you're kind of at the peak of your meeting new friends, trying to go out and meet people and have fun. I was at a point of having to choose between my friends and training. So a lot of times they would ask me if I'm free for I don't know, dinner or something, and I say, I can't, have training. Or they will ask, do you want to come and join our chalet? Then I was like, I can't, I got training. It's a lot of choices, and I don't say that I wouldn't really put it as a sacrifice, because that's a really kind of a negative tone to it.
Correct. It's a commitment, right?
It's a choice, I want to do it, so I choose to do this. I'm not sacrificing anything really.
Yeah.
Because in the end, I still get something great. So I mean, at 17, it was a little bit more difficult because I was really sometimes a bit torn, because I see my friends going out, having fun, and then I'm having to make my way to the pool and then train and then come back and eat dinner and sleep. So I think it's a thing that I feel like all athletes have to go through at some point. And I definitely don't regret it at all.
Did you find that you could enjoy the Olympics are more after Athens, because in terms of you're there, apart from competing, you want to take in the whole surroundings, the games. Or did you, on day one at the first Olympics, you embraced it?
Like just enjoyment of it?
Because you're so focused on the competing, people may not be able to enjoy it, right?
So like when I was in the village?
Yeah.
To be honest, the whole Paralympic experience was surreal at the start because it was new, right?
Yeah.
And I think when I went to the village, I was just, like what is everything, and then also being surrounded by so many disabled athletes to me was new and amazing, in real life, like I think before that I was just always felt like I was a minority, or there were not many other disabled people around me, and it was like entering the games village was like a whole new world. And I think one thing that I really took out of it was that I really wanted to come back. I wanted to come back to this scenario, this environment, because it made me feel amazing.
Yeah.
It made me feel like I belonged.
You were home in so many ways, right?
Exactly. So I think I don't remember what happened after I finished competing, because I had like 7 events.
Wow.
And I made finals for all of them. So I think that was like a step, right? For me, my coach was like, okay, I think let's aim for higher next time, which was Beijing. And so I was like, okay, let's, I think you can podium at Beijing 2008. So I think that was also part of the reason why I quit school.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to really focus on my goal.
And lock in.
Yeah. So which was 2008. It was, only 4 years away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think from, I think just after 2005, around there, it was really all systems go for Beijing. I didn't do much of anything else but sleep, swim, eat. Like that was my whole world, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in some ways that might have been not the smartest thing to do, because I think what I really needed was a little bit more balance.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I could have used a few like social sessions with my friends instead of.
Well, it's mentally fatiguing. I mean, you think about it, just for Olympics, that span of 12 years leading up to Athens, you've been training non-stop at such a high level. Something's got to give, right?
Yeah. And I think at that point when I was leading up to Beijing, it was really too much, right?
Yeah.
And I almost felt like it was a bit of burnt out, slightly.
Yeah.
But also just not being able to rest enough, recover enough, and putting too much pressure on myself. I was only 21 when I went to Beijing.
Still a baby, right? In so many ways, still learning.
In so many ways, yeah. And I think I was just too overwhelmed with the stress. At that point, we hadn't gotten our first medal yet for Singapore. So there were a lot of media reports on how I might be the first, and I think up to the point I was always in the papers because I was doing really well. But upcoming was also my teammate, Yip Pin Xiu.
Yes.
I'm sure everyone hopefully knows her.
Yes, of course.
And then she was also at her first Paralympic Games in Beijing, and she had been kind of under the radar a little bit, so it was also really interesting to see from the other side what that looked like, because she was young and new and kind of not really expecting anything. And then I'm here, kind of been in the scene for a little bit longer and kind of expecting a little bit more from performance. And then getting into the games, I think we had our first medal from Laurentia from equestrian.
Yeah.
And then Pin Xiu, who won the first gold for Singapore in the Paralympic Games.
Yeah.
So I think then I had to kind of balance that with my own disappointment of not being able to podium. I missed my bronze by 0.7 seconds.
That's got to be very hard to swallow,
man,
right?
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was just a touch. And I think to me, it's always that what if, right? But I think at some point for a lot of athletes, that's just the way it is. There's only 3 spots, right?
Yeah.
You can't, just because I think I put in a little bit more work, I deserve the bronze. It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't.
Sport is brutal but true, right? I think it's fair.
It is.
Yeah, and you get there sometimes by luck, by hard work, by whatever, timing, sometimes it's just that way. And I think for me, it was having to balance everything of the huge pride I had for Pin Xiu and also the huge disappointment I had in my own performance. So I think that was hard for me.
Well, put into context, if you think about a second, That's a second. Brr. So
Yeah.
so a seventh. So, you know, you can't even. It's just.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about.
It's tiny, but yeah, I mean, it's also the really big learning point for me, because up to that point, I think I hadn't really truly loved swimming, to be honest. You know, I was doing it because I was doing well, and I didn't feel like I could leave. But once that happened, I think that was the first big disappointment I had in my career. And then I had to reframe, because I was so sad and I was so disappointed, and I was like, okay, what do I do now? Do I quit swimming?
Because a lot
You
of
know?
people, they could give up. That could be it then.
Yeah. And I think I did consider it at some point, because it was that huge of a disappointment for me. But I think instead of quitting, I took some time away. So I think I went to powerlifting for about 9 months after that.
Yeah.
And
you were already lifting at that point, right?
Yes, yeah.
But now you like stepped it up a bit.
Competitive lifting. But I love the gym, you know, I enjoy lifting heavy and feeling strong, and
Yeah.
that was supplementing my swimming.
Yes.
But once I quit, or once I paused on swimming for a bit, and then I went into powerlifting, it was then enhanced, right? And so I did so powerlifting for Paralympic powerlifting is a single bench press,
Yep.
the heaviest, max rep. So I went to the point of being able to bench press 120 kgs.
And what was your body weight at the time?
60.
I want to put this into context for people that don't lift. If you can do twice your body weight in bench press and 3 times in deadlift, you are a serious athlete. Do you know what I mean? And not just that, you know, you don't have your whole core and your legs to stabilize your body.
Yeah.
So you're strapped in, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, tell us about that, because that takes a lot of muscle memory and you know, building the neurological pathways to doing that. How long was it that it took you to get to that point?
To lift that.
Yeah, to get to 120 kg.
I mean, I think it's because I had that base of gym already for swimming.
Yeah.
So I was already quite naturally strong.
Yeah.
But then kind of having to add in that technical part of powerlifting and pressing from a certain point and kind of arching the back a little bit more. All these things were
technique.
taught to me later on. Yeah.
Did you contemplate changing sport?
Oh, very much.
Because you could have done it.
I could have. I think logically, I felt like I could have switched sport and done well. But I think it's also, again, very much an internal feeling for me of, I don't think I'm quite done yet with swimming.
Yeah.
You know, and it's knowing yourself, right? Because everybody around me could be saying, just change, you know, just go to powerlifting. You're doing quite well. How about you just move? But it's still a choice that I had to make, and I had to understand, how do I feel? What do I want? And I think in the end, I did know that I can't leave swimming yet.
So you're making a choice now. You had a lot of different people talking. So how do you reconcile on your own and say, look, this is what I need to do, want to do?
Honestly, I think it's about knowing yourself. You have to know yourself.
Yes.
I think it's something that maybe not many people may be able to fully understand, because they're just maybe not tapped in fully into how they're feeling. I know when something's off, like, you know, like maybe a little bit on the shoulder, somewhere on the forearm, like where does it link from? Like all these things is a very much learned thing.
Yeah.
So it's also the feelings thing, right? So I knew that how I felt. I knew what I wanted. And I think I was able to shut out most of the voices, or like the noise and what people are saying, and really understand what is it I want, you know? So
you know I'm curious about, because a lot of people, they don't know, unless you've been under, for example, a bar with that much weight on it vis-a-vis your own weight. It requires absolute commitment and conviction, because it's scary. I got hurt. I dislocated my shoulder, tore my pec off my bone, tore my labrum from bench pressing, and injuries do go wrong. They do happen, right? So, but you obviously were thrilled. You enjoyed it.
I mean, similar to you, I do enjoy the challenging aspect of life sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I like being challenged, and not life being always so smooth. I like life going smoothly.
Of course.
But I do enjoy the occasional like challenge here and there, especially when it's yourself challenging you. And lifting heavy and all this, swimming faster than my current time, all this is kind of just being better than myself every day. So even in training for my coach, he was never really the type to say you have to get a gold when you get to this event. You know, it was always personal best. It's how do you get better than yourself? Because really, I mean, that's the only person you really have to challenge. You know,
100%.
if you can't even beat yourself, you can't. I don't think you should even look outward. Like,
Can you speak to some of the younger generation kids or anyone? Because I always say, look, all you can do is be the very best version of yourself.
Yeah.
So if you can set a personal best in something every day, challenge yourself every day, you're going to get better by definition. But a lot of people don't think of it like that. They don't realize the greatest competition you have is against yourself.
Yeah, I think they're just. I don't know whether it's just society's messaging.
Yeah.
And the way people have just put really strongly this message of success being the best, the best, the best, the best.
Yeah.
Like, I think it is good and, like, I guess really entertaining to see, but it's really harmful in the end, you know? I think especially when you place such thoughts in young athletes' minds and then not being able to help them regulate if they don't become the best,
Yeah.
you know? Because then it's tied to their self-worth, it's tied to their value of how they feel about themselves. And there's no one there to support if they eventually don't reach number one, which not everybody can reach.
Do you remember a while ago, Simone Biles pulled out of...
yeah.
And I heard so much negativity. And I said, look, firstly, this girl was probably sexually abused, right, as part of that whole horrific incident that was ongoing. Secondly, this woman is number one in the world at the most elite level under tremendous pressure.
Yep.
And then thirdly, the event that she's doing, it's not going for a walk in the park. You can die, you know, you're putting yourself through everything. And I'm so glad when she came back and dominated again, it was absolute validation. And it's for people that don't know, they've never been there. How can you comment?
Yeah.
I mean, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean?
It's a spectator like effect, right?
Yeah.
They think they know what's going on, but actually they're only kind of reaching the surface of it. I think something that really has something that I've learned along the 20 years, right, is the importance of knowing when to stop.
Yes.
Knowing when to rest, because that is as important as when to train. Because you can understand that commitment is required to be the best.
Yeah.
But then in the middle, if you don't understand that, yes, within that commitment, you need to know when you need to pause, stop, rest, recover. You're not going to reach the top because you're going to be like, oh, I'm so tired. Yeah, you're tired because you can't rest. You didn't rest. And I think there's a fear involved of like, oh, everybody's training. Yeah, but everybody's training and resting, you know?
Intelligently,
being smart about it, not just putting everything into it and not being able to balance it out with recovery.
Talk to me about, so when you were diagnosed with spina bifida, and then do you have to program your training around your specific condition, understanding really what the challenges are specifically linked to that?
I think for spina bifida, it's from birth, so it's a congenital disability. It didn't really affect my swimming so much, besides not being able to kick to me. Maybe some a bit like my back. I have to activate a little bit more to make sure that my legs don't sink. Little nitty gritty stuff like that. But on the whole, like, I don't think my coach really adapted it to my condition specifically.
Okay.
I think it's more like adapting it to what my body can do.
Yeah.
So my coach is Uncle Seong. He was Uncle Seong when I was going to Beijing, Athens, London. Yeah. At some point of my life, he was my head coach. And Uncle Seong is also used to be the world's fastest man. And he's really an amazing role model and mentor figure for me. And he's always been the kind to, again, chase personal best, not medals.
I love that.
Yeah, and really put that message in my head for a really long time. And he's also very good at kind of understanding what you can do. You know, different bodies are different. He used to coach another Paralympic medalist from the US, Gregory Burns, who's now an artist. And so I think Uncle Seong also understood, as a good coach, you don't have to really understand what your whole disability is about. You know, it's about what can you do? Show me what you can do. Show me if you can't do this, we'll try another way. If you can't do this, we'll try another way. It's about adapting, right?
Yeah.
I think a good coach understands that even able-bodied swimmers are a little bit different sometimes, you know? There may be swimmers who all are able-bodied, but this swimmer maybe has a really, really good kick.
Yeah,
Then,
correct.
I think it's just understanding your athlete, not understanding your able-bodied athlete or disabled athlete.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah. What can you tell me about mindset and approach? Because what I'm gathering from you is you took away the unnecessary pressure. Because I think that's pressure it kills most young athletes, right? Or students, or just in life in general. We put so much pressure on ourselves. How did you find you managed that mindset?
When?
Just generally, when you as an athlete, if you think about it, because you're going into your third Olympics, right? You're carrying the weight of disappointment across from Beijing.
Yeah.
You know, how do you find a way to balance that? Because that in itself is the core skill. The reality is, because if you're not thinking it, you would have given up.
Yeah. I think it was just time. Like for me, it wasn't really learning anything. Like I didn't really read books or ask people. I was really, unfortunately, a little bit more withdrawn during that period of after Beijing. And I took a lot of time just self-reflecting, and I understood enough about myself that I knew I didn't want to quit, but I didn't know how to get back up really. So I mean, what I did was really just take some time away. So I was in powerlifting for 9 months. I stopped that after 9 months. I went back to swimming. And I really took it from the very beginning. You know, how do I enjoy the water again? So I went to the pool. I really just played in the water. I told my coach, I mean, we were both understanding each other, mutual understanding that I'm trying to really build that love for swimming again.
Yeah.
And so I really just went there and played in the pool, half an hour. Bye, coach, I'm going home. You know, it starts from there. And then slowly increasing it to like an hour and a half, going back to full 2-hour sessions again.
Well, so you're 21, 22. You're still so young, right? In your formative years.
I mean, it was gradual, and I think something I really did was take a little bit more time for myself, enjoying my social life, my family, my friends, and making sure my head is not just full of only swimming.
Yeah.
I think for me, what I learned from this experience maybe is that I am someone who needs more balance. Yeah. And then it may not work for everybody, right? Some people really do a lot better when it's just their sport in their head, in their life. But for me, I knew from then that I needed that balance.
You know what I've observed? That if someone is so super intense, I heard Stephen Hendry is like one of the world's best snooker players. And he was basically number one for about a decade, and it was relentless. And in comparison, there's another guy, Ronnie O'Sullivan, who is he's been number one up and down, but he's had a very prolonged career. And I think if you're that intense for that period of time, it can just kill you. It'll just burn you out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that you had another 2 games goes to show that you had a prolonged career because you found that balance.
Yeah, and I mean, 20 years is something that I don't take lightly. You know, it's 2 decades, 2-decade long career.
Yeah.
The downs were there, but I think what really helped was how to get back up, right? And after I went back to swimming and I found that enjoyment again, London was coming up. I really didn't place that much pressure or importance on the results of it. I qualified. I was like, okay, how do I again just enjoy competing? And so that was my main goal, really. I wasn't going to go like, okay, let's get PBs. I think at that point, it really wasn't realistic.
Yeah.
So I was just, how do I enjoy competing and racing again? And it was good. You know, I raced, I was happy. And
you enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, and I think also just the whole idea of happiness, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was something that really sat with me. You know, I was like, how do I make sure that whatever I'm doing, I'm training happy, racing happy, I'm happy, you know.
I love it.
Yeah, I think a lot of times there's a lot of pressure on just doing so well.
How do you find, like, talk to me about people in your corner, because I think if you don't have a great support network, it can be very, very difficult.
For sure. I think I would say most of my success is due to the people around me. You know, it's not possible without them. I say my dad, when he wakes up earlier than me to send me to training, he sends me to training and then he jogs around the pool. So he adds in a little bit of extra for himself, right?
Good for him.
Yeah, my mom makes the food and she makes sure it's healthy and nutritious. and every training camp, every competition, every time I leave the country, my family's there to send me off, pick me up.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and if they can, they'll be there in the stands to watch me. So it's something that I don't know, and that I can say that a lot of athletes really have.
Yeah.
That pure like just commitment of support for no matter what, ups or downs, you know.
It was funny because when my son was on the Singapore national boxing team, I would drive him because it's in Bedok, and I'd be there. I don't want to be there too much because he's got to do his thing.
Yeah.
So I would do what your dad would do. I would go around the track and I'll go for a little bit of a run. But you know, I find that the role of parents and coaches is sometimes overlooked. You know, and having a coach. Your coach sounds like an amazing human being because the guidance, the wisdom is huge.
He's had such an impact in my life, really, and he's always had that feeling of I really can trust him in whatever I do, and we had a really good bond, you know, and I really respect him so much.
That's amazing.
And just the respect between the coach and the parent.
Yeah,
you know, you can't have that if you don't trust your coach, right?
Yeah.
Your son's coach.
Yeah.
You know, my dad and mom really trusted the coach, left it to him.
Yes.
Whatever he decided. So I think also later on, I was having a conversation with my mom and dad, and they mentioned that, during the down period, there were a lot actually of conversations between my parents and my coach that I was unaware of.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
just
sure.
because they were like updating him and just telling him, oh, today, you know, she was like this and this. And especially in my slump, you know, I was probably really down, and they were the ones kind of letting him know how I was, and maybe, you know, whatever he chooses to do with the information.
Let me share with you my take on this, because I feel that the role of coaches for young adults, young athletes, is very important. And I actually think there are very few good coaches. A lot of the coaches, there's a commercial element that they're thinking about, and it's not their fault. Everyone's got to get paid and make a living. So I think the system behind that and the ecosystem is very important.
Yes.
But what I say to a lot of the coaches is, you don't realize that you're thinking about this all wrong. The reality is very few of these young athletes are going to make their living from doing this sport. But what will happen is you're shaping this young adult and what they're going out into society.
Yeah.
So win, lose, or draw, you've got to encourage them.
Yep.
And it's a very difficult balancing act, because, you know, when you have a young athlete, it's a bit of push and pull and, you know,
you can't push too
psychologically,
hard.
you know, like, how is it, right?
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult. So I wanted to speak about that. But one of the questions I had for you is, growing up disabled in Singapore, what was it like? Because I know that in the UK back in the day, it wasn't great. There weren't ramps for people and it evolved over time.
Yep.
But have you seen the changes progressively in the last few decades?
Oh, definitely. I think in Singapore, I kind of vaguely remember being a disabled kid 20 years ago. And it was so different, right? I think at some point I was almost expecting that wherever I go is not going to be accessible for me.
Yeah.
But also I was young enough that my dad could carry me.
That's it.
And then that evolved to now no longer being. But also just the infrastructure improvement around Singapore. I think now I can go wherever I want by public transport.
Amazing.
On my own, and it's accessible. But I do think even mindset has changed a little bit, just being more aware.
Yeah.
I remember when we were living in a part in Tampines, and they had just built a staircase, and then next to it they started building something else, like literally like 2 meters, 3 meters away. We were like, oh cool, they're gonna build a ramp. They built another set of stairs.
Ayo, yeah.
It's just like, what happened here, and who approved it, and that's what happened here, because just didn't make sense. So my dad wrote into the.
He did.
Yeah, I mean he's a bit vocal.
No, as he should be.
It's great, right?
Of course.
I think
it's his baby girl. How are you going to get around and everyone else like you?
I had to go to a further down ramp, but to us it just like didn't make sense. So I think he wrote in, and I guess it must have been a mistake or something. It became a ramp. So accessible, right? I think sometimes people don't understand just when the necessity of accessibility, because they don't need to use it yet. You know, I think when you don't need to use it, of course, it's not something you really see or are aware of. the moment you need to use it, everything is so like it's a blinker, right?
Of course.
It's not accessible. It's not accessible. Not accessible.
No, but the thing is, it's a hygiene factor most of us don't even consider, if you're able-bodied. But for you, it's everything. Now, I want to turn back the pages. I want to take you to Rio 2016. How many different events were you competing in?
Oh, wow. Probably 50, 100, 50, like 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were your top 2 or 3 favorite events?
I mean, breaststroke was my pet event.
Okay.
So
is it your favorite and your best in your mind at that time?
Is it my favorite?
Because favorite and best sometimes are different, right?
Yeah, it was torturous. I mean, it's a really difficult stroke to swim just because it's quite technical.
Yes.
But I would say it's like sometimes it ties for first and second with 50 free.
Yeah.
I like 50 free because it's fast and it's just
savage.
Like,
it's just unbridled, like run.
Yeah.
Boom.
Not too much thinking, just go, right?
Yeah.
But 100 breaststroke, there's a bit of technique, there's a bit of tactics. There's like how much do you pull for the first 50 so that you can come back on the second?
Yeah.
How much breaths do you take? So I actually go out and I...
Did you measure? Did you know how many breaths?
We had to. I think there's a precision to it that we had to have.
100%.
Yeah, so I know my first 10 strokes I don't breathe.
Yeah.
And then I breathe every 3.
Okay,
and
so you're doing bilateral strokes.
So then coming back, after the turn again, another 10 strokes not breathing. So I had to do a lot of breath holding exercises. Actually, we trained with a free diver once.
Wow.
So I can hold my breath for about 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
That's impressive.
At some point, and now I'm not sure if I can do it. But it's all these little things that you don't really kind of tie to swimming per se, but it's all the different...
How scientific was your coaching? Were you guys filming yourself and watching?
So much. I think it's very, very scientific.
People don't think about that when you got to think
of swimming, right?
Yeah, and you think about the drag and when you're pulling.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, I talk about like my back activation, making sure my leg don't sink. So
and you don't barrel, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't rock too much.
So it's a drills. It's lactate testing.
Yeah.
It's
so they did all of that.
Everything. Yeah.
And this was all here in Singapore.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the system is there and facilities are there. I think maybe sometimes could be overwhelming, you know, for coaches to not know what they can use, what they should use, when they should use it. And then they kind of go back to what's comfortable, which is I'll just focus on their sport, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good opportunity in Singapore. We have really good resources, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes just knowing how to use it.
I want to come back to the training and stuff in a minute, but I want to go back to the race where this happened.
Yeah.
So tell me what your mindset was going in, who your competitors were, how well you knew them.
At this point, I mean, I had been swimming for 16 years, I think. So people were familiar with each other. You know, we've seen each other multiple times.
Yeah, of course.
I think the feeling was just a completely different feeling from Beijing. So Beijing, I remember being really stressed out, scared, dreading the swim. I almost felt like if I could close my eyes and open my eyes and the race would be over,
you'd be happy.
I'll be happy with that. Like just, I'm done, you know. But obviously that didn't happen. So I think my parents also were there in Beijing watching me race, and they were in the stands. You know, I was not looking for them. I was just like, I just look down, just swim and then get out and then I'll be done with it. And the difference was in Rio because BP actually sponsored my parents and Pin Xiu's parents to go up and watch us race.
Wow.
That's
wonderful. Shout out to them. It's
amazing. Yeah. Corporate sponsors, you know. So I think...
how did you find them? Did they reach out to you or you guys had to reach out
BP?
To them? Yeah.
BP was a Paralympic sponsor. So they reached out to the Singapore National Paralympic
I mean, that
Committee.
one thing, it seems simple, but it changes everything.
Yeah.
Because now you got some support.
Knowing you have your parents in the stands. Yeah, beautiful. It's wonderful. And so the difference was that Beijing, I was scared and dreading looking for them. But in Rio, the moment I came out to the blocks, right, I was actively like, where are they? You know, and then having this more overwhelming feeling of excitement to race rather than dread, you know, it was so different. It was night and day. Yeah, so I think really for me, I had to be happy. I had to be competing happy. I had to be racing happy. So that was the success.
But that's everything, right? Yeah. So you're in the water. Walk me through what you remember. Can you not remember much of it?
I don't remember much.
Just the blanket finish.
It was, I mean, there was, again, excitement to go and show off, in a sense, what I had been doing all these years, right? And months leading up to it. I think I was just like going through the race tactics, holding my breath, not rushing my strokes. And then when I remember I touched the wall and turned around and kind of like...
When did you realize that
When I turned around.
You knew straight away?
When I turned around, I saw the blocks.
And what was it like?
I was so happy. I think you can see from my race videos. It was
we'll play it here when we release this. We'll include it. So that's why I wanted your walkthrough so we can show the video.
I mean, just remembering turning around and feeling like a weight had been lifted, you know, and it was.
Was it relief?
Huge
in some
relief.
ways. That's what people don't. They don't necessarily understand. It's relief because you work so hard towards trying to get this thing.
Yeah, it was major relief. I think just that feeling of, oh my gosh, finally, you know?
Yeah.
But also, like, I'm almost curious to know how I would have felt if I didn't get it again.
Yeah.
You know, I think at that point I was quite at peace with everything. And that feeling of, you know, if I get it, I get it. If not, I'm okay. Yeah. I think I had also worked on myself and my mental strength enough to know that I did not place any of that on my worth as an athlete or person.
Beautiful.
You know, so I think I'm pretty sure I would have been okay if I had not gotten my bronze.
But listen,
it's a bonus.
But I'm glad we're sitting here today and you don't know because you achieved what you worked so hard towards. Yeah. When you look back, what is more important to you, the world records or the medal or the bronze?
None of them.
None of them. Oh, no. I love it.
No, I think it's all material, right? I think everything else that came with it, like the people I met, the confidence I've built, the person I am, it's all more important than all these other things on the side, you know.
What gives you confidence today? You sat here today. What are the things you look back and you've brought with you to the amazing human being that sat in front of me now?
What gives me confidence?
Yeah.
All the experiences I've had, I think, you know, knowing that I can do what I set my mind to.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty confident in being able to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Aside from walk, but but I think everything else that I do set out to achieve, I'm almost confident that I will get it, you know, and I will. I think it's also just the deep sense of trust in self and being able to know that my value is such without anybody telling me, you know. I know that I have a huge trust in my abilities and in who I am, and I don't have to depend on anybody's input or what people think of me. I don't really care what people think of me, really.
Good for you.
And I think that's years and years of self-talk and really belief in whatever I choose to do, you know.
That's amazing. I wanted to ask you because I've always wondered this. So you set 2 world records. Mm-hmm. Did you ever swim faster? Not in competition.
Not in competition.
Yeah, like did you ever swim faster at the time when you're in training?
Oh.
Because the answer I find is often no.
Yeah.
It's no, and I always find that, so that proves that the moment you built up to the moment, you delivered under the spotlight.
Yeah.
You know, with the
pressure helps.
That's the thing. People don't realize that.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
So you never swam faster. I said ran, never swam faster.
No. I've actually never swum faster in training.
Amazing.
I do enjoy the competitive aspect to it.
Yeah.
I think I see it now in shooting because I've changed to shooting.
Yeah.
I shoot well enough in training, but I always shoot much better in competition.
Yeah, you're locked in.
Yeah.
So where did shooting come from? Because it's such a, you know, the 2 different sports you'd already done. They're so different,
they both
right?
start with S.
Yeah, and that's about it. But
yeah. I think it was just like a thing that fell into place for me. I think I was doing, where was I? I was doing laser shooting in the Global Esports Week.
Okay.
And they had a trial thing. So I went to try it out. It was fun. I like shooting games, you know, COD, PUBG, you know, all that stuff.
Okay, so that's your jam, is it?
It's fun. So I think then having to hold the gun and kind of feel it and getting the experience, I think I was good enough, but I wasn't that interested at the point. So then fast forward to maybe 6 months later, I got to try out pentathlon, which is run and shoot. Yeah. So I wheeled and then I go and shoot 5 shots or
That's
something.
an old school event, but it's a
Really?
great event. Well, no, when you think about heptathlon, but pentathletes, people don't know what they do, right?
Yeah.
Because it's an unusual event.
Yeah.
But it's very different because it's
It's
dynamic.
very difficult. Yeah.
You know?
So it was just a little adaptation to it. So it's just a run and shoot.
Yeah.
Not the full event. And I did that with another retired Paralympian, Aini. She was a powerlifter. And we were like, how about we try this thing? You know, it's a fun thing that us retired Paralympians can go and do.
Yeah.
So we went to try it out. And when we ran, everyone ran faster than me. So they all reached the gun station first. But when I reached the gun station, I left earlier than some of them because I shot more accurately than the rest of them. So I think that was a little bit of maybe this could be something, you know. But ultimately, I think it was just a feeling of restlessness, maybe. I felt like something was missing. Something was. I was a bit bored at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else can I do now? You know.
But also, you've obviously got a certain level of curiosity coupled with self-belief. Because most people wouldn't think, I'll just go and do it on a Sunday for an afternoon, not think about competing, right? So tell us about where you are on your journey now with shooting.
I've been training for about 1 year.
Okay.
So
it's only a year.
It's only been a year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been fun, and I think I've got a lot of good feedback from the coach, and how I'm doing, and I think the scores also as I do the national shoots.
Yeah.
Reflect good trajectory.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy it, and it's currently just having to balance it with being a new sport and not over promising myself even, you know, just taking it slow, enjoying the sport.
What are your coaches saying? Do they think you're going to start competing at a high level? What are they saying?
I think that's the goal.
Yeah, baby.
That's the goal for sure. I think I want to, if I can. I think I've already spoken this into the universe at some point, one of the interviews. But if I can get to the Paralympic Games in shooting, that would be a dream. Yeah.
It's amazing. I love that whole visualization and put it into the universe. Because I've always believed if you get a black belt figuratively in something, it means you've reached a certain level of excellence. And you take that mindset and that psychology and you can apply it to something else.
Yep.
Whatever it is, it could be cooking, it could be, and a lot of people don't believe that. I feel that
Really?
a lot of people, because being good at one thing, most people think that's impossible. But if you have that mindset, and I always say to my kids is, if you believe you're crap at something, guess what? You're right. You're going to be crap. But if you think you're great, you know, you increase your chances of really doing very well at something.
Yep.
And what I find so inspirational about you is that your thought process is I can, right?
Yeah.
And that's huge. And you seem like you've had a lot of fun along the way.
I did.
So break down your training, because again, most people when they're thinking about swimming, they're not realizing, like when you just mentioned those numbers, most people still won't know. I mean, you know, a few people that have done weights will know, but those are serious numbers you're pushing out. So break down how much of it was strength and conditioning versus time in the pool on a regular day of training.
And at the peak, it was probably twice a day sessions, 2 hours in the morning. Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays are gym sessions, so 3 times a week. Twice a day for swimming, for every day except Sundays. So I mean, if you add it all up, it's about 13 sessions. But in the middle, there's of course like physio, there's nutrition sessions, there's,
everything.
Yeah,
right?
just to.
Did you? And what I'm curious about is, did you find that there was an optimum in terms of your weight and strength? Because if you're too big, you're too heavy, too muscular, it's going to slow you down.
Yeah. So I did think about that, and I think coach was trying to find that balance. And I said I was lifting about 60 kgs. No, I was 60 kg and lifting 120. That was after
Please tell me it's only one rep.
Yeah, that's one rep.
And I was going to say, if you were banging out reps with that would have been even more savage.
No, maybe that's.
What were you doing? Like, but your normal benching, you're not doing for one rep. You're doing like, what were you doing for 10 reps?
80 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I mean, it's just that was normal training, but I think after I started powerlifting, I started gaining more muscle mass. So before I started powerlifting, I was about 50 kg. So I actually gained about 10 kgs in muscle mass.
And that's not easy.
Yeah, and we thought it was not going to help swimming, but it turned out like it did help swimming in the end. I think before we did all that, we thought that maybe 50, 55 was an optimum number.
Yeah. But 60 was.
But 60 was apparently.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. I think it was just coupled with how much power was needed for me, because I really don't have much use of the lower limbs. There's no kicking involved.
Yeah.
There's no help, So it's really about how do you optimize the pull range, the pull part of the race.
Are you thinking about everything in terms of even your hand placement, because whether or not your fingers are open or closed?
Yeah.
Talk us through that, because a lot of people aren't thinking about these micro details.
I mean, it's super technical, right? Because it's all about even after you come up to breathe, how low do you put your head?
Yeah.
It still has to break the surface during that whole breathing cycle. Like the moment you breathe, or even when you're not breathing, your whole stroke cycle, your head has to break the surface.
Yes.
So it's how high do you go? How low do you go? Your arms, what angle is it? Do you open it? Do you close it tight?
Yeah.
All these things. And then when you glide, I don't have much glide because I don't have a kick part, right? But there's still a moment of glide, and you have to kind of guess or like figure it out, like how much glide is needed. So I think we found out that why I do 10 strokes of no breathing is because the moment I'm not breathing and I'm pulling is when I have the most efficient stroke. So we try and maximize that. So I do like three strokes, 1 breath, because that's optimum for me. But maybe for somebody else who does every breath, every stroke, maybe it works for them, Yeah.
And also your VO2 max, your lung power, right? All these things make a huge difference.
Oh, VO2 max.
Forget about it.
Such an old term.
Yeah, I know. I am old. I'm turning 48 next week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I always, it's funny because I'm still competitive by nature, and I always trying to get a gauge of. So when John was kind enough, shout out to Mr. John Curry when he connected us, I didn't know where this was going. He goes, "What are your personal bests for lifts?" And I thought he was competing with me, like that's where it was coming from. He goes, "No, because I've got a great athlete in mind that I'd like you to introduce you to have on the show." And but when he sent the numbers through, he didn't tell me it was you. I said, "No, mate, you're doing phenomenal." And he's a big guy, right? I don't know how tall he's a big guy. And he said, "No, it was for you and your body." I said, "Oh wow," you know what I mean? That was huge.
Didn't know all this was happening behind.
No, but that's what happened. Yeah. And then what about your food intake? Because when you're now doing powerlifting and you're incorporating heavy training, your protein intake probably had to go up and stuff. Did you find that your diet changed or not really?
Not really. I think I was already quite protein heavy.
Yeah.
And I think for me, because I've never really been small or skinny really, so body image issues has always also played a part in, I guess, my career. So there's always an aspect of nutrition involved, right? So I was always kind of on a low carb, high protein diet anyway. So there wasn't really much of a change, really.
And it worked well for you.
Sorry?
It worked well for you. You knew that early.
I think it's, again, like if I feel like if I'm going to training, I'm already feeling fatigued, then my dietitian will be like, "Oh, maybe you need to eat a little bit more just before training.
Yeah.
More in the morning." It's tweaking different parts of the.
Were you doing
day.
other ancillary exercises? You obviously did bench press, but what about other weight sessions you were doing?
I mean, I was doing pull-ups. I was doing.
Pull-ups, you can't lie with pull-ups. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't lie. Yeah. They're hard.
I love pull-ups. I think I had a surgery done for my shoulder before.
What happened? You tore it?
Not really. It was just like a overuse thing.
Okay.
So there was bone spurs.
Yeah.
So they had to shave it down and fix part of it. So when I did that, I had to recover for a few months. I actually dreamt of pull-ups.
No way. You missed them.
I missed it so much. Yeah,
That tells me you're a masochist, because pull-ups are no joke, man. What's your personal best on pull-ups?
Without weights, probably 50.
50?
Yeah.
Are you serious? I'm going home now. I'm home, but
You're at home.
50.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was I really love pull-ups. I'm telling you. Yeah.
You flipping must have done 50 pull-ups. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's just, I mean, you're right on being a masochist. I think being part of an athlete is part of it is being a masochist.
You got to be
You got to love the pain a little bit. Yeah,
you got to lean into the pain.
Yeah, I remember one of the sessions before Rio. It was a training camp, and it was the last training camp before Rio. We had reached on the first day. we usually do recovery swims on the first day. There's nothing crazy. But coach that day decided, let's do a heart session. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
And so we did a heart session, and I was really feeling it because it's just on arrival on that day.
Yeah.
But I remember actually thinking, how do I kind of change my mindset to benefit my performance and progress now? So I started telling myself to love the pain.
Yeah,
and it
embrace
worked.
it.
Yeah. So
How did you say it to yourself?
Yeah.
What would you say?
Love the pain, love the pain, love the pain.
Just say, come on, bitch, let's flipping do this. You're going to go. Like, was it that kind of savage talk?
It was really just telling myself, the pain is good, love the pain, but good pain. So it's like the fatigue, the lactate.
But I want to put this into context. Anyone listening to this, go to the local park, stretch first, try and do a pull-up. Do one pull-up. Most people won't even get close to 10. Right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Without training, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is with training. It's with
it
years
doesn't
of
matter.
training.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Even, I've never done 50 pull-ups. I did years of training. That's serious. I'm in awe of that. I really am. I want to talk a little bit about when you finished and you're thinking about retiring, because your whole identity at this point is I'm a swimmer, I'm an Olympian. What are you thinking and what's next? Like, what's going through your mind?
I think I had prepared to quit for a few months, actually. I remember going to one of the games and sitting in the hotel lobby and kind of writing my notes, just saying, I think I'm done, It's a feeling of, I don't think I can give anymore, or it won't benefit anybody, or, it won't benefit myself. I want to move on. I want to go try something else. So I prepared for it, really. I talked to my parents. I talked to my friends, like my coach. And then kind of really asked myself, is it really now time to leave? Because I think I had tried to quit a few times before for various reasons, burnout, just tired, and then now finally actually knowing it's none of these reasons. It's just because I'm done.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah, it's time. So I knew that it was also something that I had to prepare for, because I wanted to go and work. So I went and sought like job interviews and where's the best place to be for now. And
that's got to be a bit intimidating though, because at that point, you're embarking upon something completely different.
Yeah.
So how did you find what you're doing now?
Currently,
Yeah.
This is my second job. So
Okay.
I was at Sports Singapore, my first job.
What do you do with them?
Sports Singapore, I was academies and clubs, like dealing with the youth athletes.
Okay.
And I really purposefully didn't want to work in high performance, especially in swimming, I think, because I wanted to kind of just remove myself from that scene a little bit, push into an uncomfortable place, and learn something new.
Beautiful.
Because again, I do like learning new things and figuring out how to do my best in different roles.
Yeah.
So I was in Sport SG for 2 years, and it was during the COVID period, I think. Circuit breaker and all that. Everyone was at home.
Yeah.
So at some point I didn't really see my colleagues for a good 6 months.
Yeah.
But I left, and then I went and started working at Singapore Disability Sports Council, and that's where I am now. It's been about 3 years or something.
And what are you doing with these guys now?
I'm a pathway and performance manager. So we do have, each of us have different sports, and I'm taking care of boccia and badminton.
Okay.
So then these two sports I manage coaching, payments, training venues, how are the athletes,
Wonderful.
sending them for competitions. It's really the part that I get to see the other side of, So coming from the athlete background and then now coming to the manager background, kind of understanding what it takes to then send all these athletes to compete. Because it's not as easy as just saying, I want to go. And
There's so much work goes into it.
So much admin. I think one thing I realized is that I really don't like budgeting. It sucks, but it's necessary because we all have a set amount, and you can't just spend as you wish.
It's hard.
Yeah. So
are you guys indirectly involved in fundraising then?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because that's got to be a big challenge.
Always need fundraising.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always money that's needed.
Yeah. I always feel unfortunate. There's a lack of funds going around.
Yeah.
Were you on a stipend or?
When I was an athlete?
Yeah.
At some point, I was a spec scholar.
Okay.
So that was an initiative that started in 2012, I think. So I started in 2013, the second year. So from 2013 to when I retired in 2019, I was a SPEC scholar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
hard
really good.
because I had a Mita on the show, Mita Bertia, who's lovely. She's a friend of yours, right?
Yeah.
You know her. And we were just talking, and it's so hard to make amends, to make money to get through because, it's not cheap. If you think about, you need the great quality food, you're going to physio, there are so many different considerations.
Yeah. It's so expensive.
Yeah, really
so
is.
I do think the SPEC scholarship is really helpful.
Yeah.
Because it takes a burden off us.
Big time, right?
Having to worry about money, right? But I think we are actually really lucky in Singapore because we get a lot of support and resources, and it's not easy to kind of have to pick, right, which athlete gets the support, and sometimes it's really difficult as an athlete knowing you're almost there and not being able to support.
Sorry to interrupt you. I can't remember the exact numbers. I'll flag it and check it later. But I was checking. So I'm flying tonight to the World Championships in athletics. I think a gold medal, I think it's something ridiculous. It's like $70,000. That's it.
In the world athletics?
You're the best athlete in the world in whatever your discipline is, and it's $70,000. And it's like, how are you expecting these guys to? It's not a lot of money. No, to be the best in the world, right?
It's like, I think it's also the way you look. When do you provide that money, right?
Yeah.
I feel like
because you need it to train to get to the top.
Yeah. So I feel like even just putting in more money at the support level, it's more important than putting a carrot.
Yes.
Because that's eventual thing that from that success you can get a lot of opportunities then that come to you.
Yeah.
But it's more important to support the way up rather than at the end.
100%.
Yeah.
One of my goals of the podcast with some of the wonderful guests that I'm having on is to raise some awareness of that and to help some young athletes because I never really got a chance to pursue what I wanted to do because I had to earn money for the family. And if there was funding, maybe that would have been a little bit different, right? And I feel there's a lot of potential out there that is not nurtured. And especially in Singapore, because Singapore, even though it's great and it's growing, in Singapore, sports is not really an outlet. It's not embraced because how many people do you know that will go on to make their career from this?
Not many,
right? And the reality is at school, hopefully most children will get a chance to do some sports, some music, some arts, but how many of it will translate? And I think there are a lot of people that have a lot of potential. And I don't really subscribe to, Singapore is a small country. I'm from the UK, small country. Ireland, I'm half Irish. They produce a lot of top quality athletes. But I think if a little bit more funding and understanding and awareness is there, and they should be embraced. You guys have to be supported from an early age.
Not just at the end, right? Yeah.
You can't get to the end, because you have to have a certain amount of talent. But you can be the most talented athlete in the world, but without the right funding, the right coaching,
you can't get there.
You're not going to get there.
Exactly.
Right? That's very clear. What advice would you give yourself, your younger self, starting up in the sport with what you know now, which would have impacted your first 2 Olympics, for example?
I think I would advise myself to have a bit more balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that might have changed things. But I mean, to be truthful, like I don't think I would really change anything about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really sad, sure, like 2008, not getting the bronze, but it really helped me set myself up for success in the end.
100%.
So I do think everything worked out for the way it was and what was necessary.
So what would you say to young athletes? No regrets, of course, no regrets. But young athletes that are coming up now, with your wisdom, what would you share with them? Right, so balance,
enjoy what you do. Really, it's so important. I think imagine not enjoying your sport. That would be so terrifying.
Yeah.
So I think enjoy yourself.
But even you said earlier there was one point that you were doing it because you were good at it, and
that was the early stages. When I was young, right? And I think that it's not to say that you can't have a negative feeling in your sport.
Of course,
you understand. Training is terrible.
Yeah,
training is horrible. It's tiring and it's tough, but there's a way to find enjoyment in it still, at some point later on in I would say maybe my second half of my career, I was able to find more enjoyment in the tough parts of training. When you talk about challenging yourself, I really like the feeling of feeling strong, lactate, after that next day feeling even better, all these little things, it's because we go through the hard parts, we are able to come out a lot stronger. So I would say really finding the enjoyment in the tough times, balance, making sure you prioritize recovery is important. I think sometimes young athletes are so focused on success,
and that's
success.
where, unfortunately, that's where injuries happen.
Yeah,
big time.
Yeah.
But like now that you're a working gal, a professional, don't you find that what you've done, the excellence that you've done, has helped you in your career? Because there's so many things that are translated. Share with us a few that you feel that have translated, or people don't understand.
I think it translates in the way of being able to handle things mentally.
Yeah.
I'm not so thrown off when things don't go my way so much. I mean, I get annoyed, but like after that, I'm like, hey, how do I solve this? And I do believe that everything is solvable. Everything is I can deal with everything.
Yeah.
It's just how annoying it is. It's fine,
Yeah. I love that.
I'm not too thrown off also by little challenges here and there. I think I look forward to how do I prepare myself for the best case scenario. So like it's so nerdy, right? But like, how do I put stuff in Excel or stuff that will then help me do this particular task better next time?
Of course.
How do I make sure budgeting is not so much of a pain next time? You know?
I think excellence in anything, but certainly in sports, it translates into business and life because it's discipline. Yeah. It's hard work. You're not afraid to do the hard work. Talk to me about, we both love animals, and tell me about the role that you play in animal welfare.
I am currently the board member in the Cat Welfare Society in Singapore, and we really aim to kind of provide support for the community cats, the humans that care for them. Legislation for cats in Singapore also. And I think for me, my partner and I, we have 3 cats at home that we adopted.
What are their names?
Sebastian, Cosmo, and Kai.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're all really.
Are they about the same age?
No, Sebastian is 13.
Okay.
12, 13.
Wow.
Yeah. Cosmo is 3, and Kai is about 1.
Is it correct?
Correct.
Yes. Yeah. But do you find, because we've just adopted 2 cats, I never had cats growing up, and they have become best friends,
Oh, really?
which is so wonderful to see.
Yeah.
The family are in love with them.
Yeah.
But we didn't know cats and dogs, how would it work?
So good together.
It actually works quite well.
Especially when they're kittens or when they're young.
Yeah.
Especially, I think dogs are a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah.
So you have an older dog and a young kitten. It's easy to kind of.
Cats are a law unto themselves. They do what they want when they want.
Exactly.
You can't bribe them with food.
You're not the boss of them.
Do you know what I mean? Never.
But I think it's interesting, right, to own cats and dogs because there's such different personalities in how you deal with them sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think my cats are a little bit different. Like some of them, I have a cat that's like a dog.
Okay.
And
how so?
He's always asking for attention.
Oh, really?
He's always at the door.
That's like mine.
Yeah.
My little one. Yeah.
And he's always
It's a boy though, right?
He's a boy.
That's what our kitten as a boy is like that. It's funny.
Oh, but we have all boys.
Oh, really?
So
they're all different.
Yeah, the oldest boy is very cat-like.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm gonna do what I want. You can't decide for me. But the youngest one's like a dog.
But we before we had the kids, we fostered cats and dogs for a while. We always had 2 dogs, so we couldn't keep them for long periods of time. And then we gave one kitten to Tara's mum, and she had her for 17 years. She passed away last year. She was devastated. Her name was Tammy. And I just even though there's mayhem, there's a lot of shit, right? We wouldn't change it. We love it because they're part of the family.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But I think it's so different. Some people don't see it that way. They just see it as a part of their house, and then they can replace it or they can get rid of it.
I don't even get that.
Yeah, it's so heartbreaking.
I still, I told you our dog died maybe a few years ago, Moki. She's a Shih Tzu. And before we had kids, she would sleep on the pillow next to me. She was our ring bearer at our wedding. The ring got lost somewhere along the way. We had to find it. I said, Moki, where is it? But it's, and she was given to us by a friend. And I never grew up with pets. And I can't imagine my life without them now.
Yeah. I can't. I think it's just another being, right, in your house that you get to interact with. They grow such a bond in your heart. And then people, I don't get how people can abandon their pets.
Well, I do think, you know, like for us, I told you 3 of our animals have been adopted,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. But again, put it like this: 6 months ago, we weren't even thinking of adopting a cat. So there's a neighborhood watch here, and someone said they found a stray kitten, and my wife immediately said, "I'll go and look after." As soon as she came home, you know, her name's Blue.
Yeah.
There was no way, you know, like we all fell in love with her like that, bang, and then we had to find a friend for Blue. But I've just said, listen, we're becoming like Noah's Ark. We have bats that come into a house. We've got chickens that come in. We don't own chickens, but it's like
everyone's coming here.
Yeah, it's like crazy, but I absolutely love it. And listen, I'm completely converted, because if you said to me, are we cat or dog people? We never had cats, so it's immediately you think dogs. But now it's like, you know, I have to be honest, the cats have taken over this household. We know who's domineering, but
it's quite common.
It's very common. Let's do a quick rapid fire, a few questions. Which is harder, swimming or shooting?
Ooh, swimming.
Yeah, unequivocally, right? Different.
Different.
Most memorable race of your career? Is it this one?
It's got to be, It's got to be Rio, 100 breasts.
I love that. In terms of your proudest moment, winning a bronze medal, how do you describe that feeling? In that moment?
Relief, really. Relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And just a culmination, I would say.
Yeah.
Culmination of everything falling together. Yeah.
Which Paralympian do you most admire?
Oh, wow. I mean, honestly, I don't really have one.
Okay, that's okay. Did you not have any heroes growing up, or?
I had one like years ago. I think it was a breaststroker. I went to Google her the other day what she's doing. I think she was a Dutch breaststroker, and she had really long nails. So I thought that it would help to touch the wall.
Yeah.
I don't think that was
But
true.
long nails curve after a while, don't they? I remember.
So I mean, I did look up to this swimmer when I was a young athlete, but I think after a while, I just really didn't take to the idea of role models so much.
Fair enough.
I didn't like the idea that role models in the end are human. They can let you down, you know. So I don't like role modeling. Looking at role models, I kind of take modular parts
from
of
different people.
What they are,
I love that.
what I like to learn from them, what I find admirable about them, but not as a person, you know? Yeah, just
the
like
skill
they're
set.
part of them.
No, listen, it goes a long way. What was your pre-competition ritual that you would never skip?
Cutting my hair.
Okay. You trim it.
I always have to cut my hair before I leave for competition.
You felt clean, right?
Yeah, like fresh. You know, just
That's
like,
me with when I shave my head, man. You know? Oh, it does, right? And I feel clean and I'm ready to rock and roll.
And it's just something that if you've done it for so many years, it's just like a ritual in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Cutting my hair.
Have you had any serious injuries?
Only just the shoulder injury. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, really? That was the main one.
That was the
and
main
the back one never, the tweaks never, nothing too
No.
serious.
No, not serious. Yeah, it was always managed by physio, by self.
I mean, the fact that you haven't and you were lifting and slinging such heavy weight is impressive. No, it is. Most people you know that have done weights have had some serious injuries, like myself included. What's the best lesson that sport has taught you?
It's taught me the importance of happiness.
Beautiful.
Truly, yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. Very philosophical. What do you wish that more people understood about being a para-athlete?
I think I wish that people were able to see para-athletes and able-bodied athletes on a more even plane.
Yeah.
I think I understand how deep society's lessons or messaging has gone, that it could be very challenging to see us equally. But I think I challenge people to kind of understand that there are many ways to be just one thing. So, I mean, I mentioned before, being a swimmer, you know, we have an expectation of what a swimmer looks like. Jumping, diving into the water, how it looks, how the person should look as a swimmer. I think I challenge them to be able to go away from that mindset, and that there are many ways a swimmer can present to you. You know, whether the swimmer has no arms, whether the swimmer has no legs, whether they have one arm. You know, I think it's different ways to understand how a swimmer can look. and still be an amazing swimmer.
100%. I love that. Yeah, there's one couple, I don't know if you know them, Tara,
Of course, yeah.
and Hunter, and I'll get to watch her because I'll be there for that.
He'll be there.
Yeah, he'll be there.
Yeah.
They're both wonderful athletes. And what I love about her is her personality is undeniable.
Yeah.
She has so much fun.
Yeah.
And she's a shorty, given she's doing long jump.
Yeah.
And, some of the videos he's released with the trials and tribulations of the challenges that he faces. But I just think they're a very, very important couple to have in our sport, right? Because there's so much to learn, and also not just about the physical side, the mental side. So they're redefining so much in our sport.
Exactly. I think we won't be able to see really the impact until many years later, because there's going to be so many minds changed now that we're not even aware of.
Yeah.
Of little disabled kids looking at them and like, oh, what's possible?
What is possible, right?
I think it's going to be exciting.
They tick so many different interesting boxes because they're a interracial couple as well. So I think I admire them tremendously. Strength or practice in terms of when it comes to what you're doing in the swimming pool, did you find that the strength work was something that you enjoyed more, or practice, the actual swimming? You're going to go strength, aren't you?
I'm going to go strength.
Yeah, because the practice swimming lengths, I've done it, not but it becomes monotonous.
Yeah. I mean, it's maybe also something that I have learned from swimming is the long, boring parts are also important.
Of course.
Yeah, I think I spent so much time doing drills, and it's like it can be 2-hour sessions of just rotating on your side, and it's something that you need, because after a while your body will forget that you're consciously thinking about it, right? It's a muscle memory thing already. It's built into your thought, your daily practice. But until it becomes that, you have to work on it. So I think I don't enjoy the practice of it, but I really enjoy gym strength work.
Of course you do. Yeah, I'm the same. I've always thought that. What did you think was more important in your career? I'm curious because you are such a powerful athlete. Would you say it was power or technique for you specifically?
Technique, probably. Yeah, I would say technique, because
power only gets you so far, right?
I can pull the water, but if I have bad technique, like it's gonna go wasted,
Yeah.
So I put a lot of effort into the technique aspect of it.
Okay.
There was a lot of drills, a lot of working on strokes correction.
To make sure everything's efficient.
Yeah, and it's really about efficiency.
Yeah.
Because swimming is really just how do you get from one end to the other in the most efficient way.
Yeah.
Because you can't waste the energy. It will go somewhere else, and you won't go as fast. So it's really efficient moving.
It is. It is. People don't think of it like that. Growing up, if you weren't an athlete, what do you think you could have done or would have done?
Wow.
Had you ever thought about that?
Last time I think I did. I had a weird answer of wanting to be a computer analyst.
Oh, really?
I have no
idea. I thought you were going to say playing games or
I have
something.
no idea what it means, I just like the idea of the name, the computer analyst. But later on, I think I did think about if I was not in sport, I would want to be a cat cafe owner, maybe. Yeah.
I took my daughter to one. This is before we got kittens, on her birthday, and it's like, I thought, this place, I've never been to a place like this. A bit weird at first, because I was thinking, are you sure the cats want us to even bother with them?
Yeah.
They were quite relaxed, but she had a fantastic, and that's what I think led to this cat journey.
The universe spoke.
I think so, because what happened, we went to the zoo, and it was raining. Right, it was April 21st. It was raining very heavily, and my wife said, I took the day off work and I had to take her to the zoo, and she had a day off from school, and it was like, okay, what can we do now? And she said, there's a pet cafe down the road at the rail mall. Why don't you check it out? And we went there, and we had 2 hours. The only problem is I couldn't sit down on the floor for too long. I'm too stiff and too many injuries, but I was enjoying it, and very, very shortly after that, we've got 2 cats. It's crazy.
It's fate.
What do you think, if you could do would you ever consider doing something like an endurance event or something to challenge yourself, like swimming or in a wheelchair? I'm just curious, have you ever thought about something very physically demanding that would be difficult for you?
I've participated in the Viva 70.3 Ironman.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. You've already done it. So you are unhinged. You are a bit crazy. How was that?
I fell during the cycling segment.
Okay.
So I had to cut off the cycling segment a little bit short.
Scary.
But I finished the rest of it, and
You're a beast.
I was dying the next day, to be
bet.
honest. Yeah, but it was fun. I mean, it's again another way to challenge myself and knowing that I can do it. The swimming is the easiest part for sure. I think everything else was just mentally kind of tiring, and do I want to keep going? It's so long.
You see, I was telling my guys, I set them a challenge a couple of weeks ago. I said to just go and walk or run 10K. Right? It's not going to be difficult. You can do it. It's just an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it takes, doesn't matter. But I always think that, great things lie on the other side of discomfort. And, when you challenge yourself, you do something, you realize, I can do that. And then every day you do something like that. It could be you're nervous, you're an introvert speaking to someone. I can do that. Yeah. Done this podcast today. It was actually all right. I enjoy it, hopefully, right? Do you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, things become a lot easier.
Totally.
And you start saying, I can.
Yeah, I completely believe that. Yeah, I think it's always putting yourself in uncomfortable positions that will benefit you in the future. Yeah. That's all that there is to it, right?
I love it. Yeah. I just love it. Okay, have you read any books that have had a big impact on your life, or watched any movies that you've really were game changers?
Well, I haven't read a proper book in ages.
Ayo!
I try. I have a...
Why don't you write one? That's a challenge.
I tried writing one.
Yeah?
Yeah, but I feel like my story's not done yet, so I can't...
I love that. I
can't write one yet.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It won't be done until the end, but I feel like there's more to tell. So I don't feel like I want to start the book yet.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I just bought a Kobo, so I want to try and read more, but my attention span is shit.
It's not easy. I'm dyslexic. I struggle with reading.
Yeah. We watch more movies, but not really.
Nothing one sprung to mind?
No, not really. No.
You'll laugh, but every time I love movies, but I can't watch any of the Rocky movies without crying.
Oh no.
But I think we all have things, be it music or whatever, that inspires us. Yeah. Did you listen to music when you were swimming?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, not while we are training, because we can't. But when we are going out to the what do you call that? The pool deck. Yeah. We have our headphones on. Yeah. But
you know why I asked that? Because nowadays I'm convinced of this. Most people, when they go to do their runs, their walks, their swims, they have to listen to a music or a podcast, but music in particular. I say to people, you don't realize that if you take that away, doing that 10K or whatever becomes much more difficult. And actually, the beauty of doing these things is that you're one with yourself and your thinking, and it forces you to think and become introspective. Yeah, I think that's something that people overlook, right?
Conscious activity. Yeah, for sure. I think there's value in kind of music while you're doing the long runs. Yeah. But I think after a while, you do have to set aside maybe one session of pure. Just understanding what your body's going through. Yeah. The boredom, go through it.
Yeah. It's all part of the pain.
At least one session.
So what's one thing that you perhaps wish you learned earlier in your life that we can teach young athletes?
One thing that I wish I had learned earlier. I mean, honestly, it's just got to go back to balance. I think I wish I had known how to better balance my expectations. Okay. Or balance training and recovery. I think during the lead up to Beijing, I was not too balanced at that. It was definitely done on the training and swimming side. I wasn't really understanding. I needed to spend more time with my family, with myself, with my friends. That could have helped me be a bit less stressed about the whole situation.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What was your proudest non-sporting moment that you can look back on?
Wow, that's tough. Non-sporting moment. I'm honestly quite proud of the way I have, the person I am today. Yeah,
you're very at ease with yourself.
I am very at ease with myself.
Good for you.
And I'm proud of the person I am. One of my moments that I really am very proud of is being ambassador at Pink Dot in 2017. I think when I was on the stage, kind of talking to the crowd, it was really emotional, and it was it felt like a lot of responsibility. Kind of talking to everybody on how I was feeling, and
How long ago was this?
2017 was...
Okay.
How long ago? 7 years ago.
Yeah.
8 years ago.
8.
Yeah. I mean, it's just feeling again like these were my community of people, which I almost felt the same way in my first Paralympic Games.
Yeah.
You know, being surrounded by disabled athletes, and then now kind of being on stage with a group of in the crowd with full of queer people, and again, people that I felt like could understand the person I am,
Yeah.
and I can understand what they're going through.
I love it.
You know, so I think it was really, I'm really grateful to have been chosen. Yeah.
And not to shy away from it, embrace it.
Yeah.
You know, because you're a pioneer, you're a leader in so many ways, whether or not you recognize that or not, hopefully you do, but you have a voice that resonates with a lot of people, and I think it carries a lot of weight.
I hope so. Yeah, I think
100%. Don't hope. Lean into it, baby.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about things today that motivate you, right? Because, so for example, you're shooting, you're already thinking about Olympic glory again, right? You realize it's a possibility.
Just a tinge. Yeah. Just a tinge.
Yeah, but what motivates you to get up in the morning, to put a smile on your face?
I think I enjoy life so much. I think
you seem to.
Thank you. I've said that I do think about death every day, a little bit every day. However morbid that sounds, just the idea that mortality is so right for me.
Yeah.
I do remind myself of my own mortality, and that life is short, and to do things with consciousness, you know.
Yeah.
And so I do wake up, and most days enjoy looking forward to the day.
Good for you.
I think I really enjoy my work. I like my colleagues a lot. They're a wonderful bunch, and I spend most of my time at work,
Yeah,
right? So I do
of course.
have to enjoy it, and luckily I do. You know, I like my situation at work.
Yeah.
I look forward to bettering what I do at work. You know,
Yeah.
that kind of feeling.
And listen, you've got an amazing partner. You've got, you know, a great balance in life. Because why I say that is most of us at some point go through difficult times. But there was a movie one of my favorite movies that I've watched a few times recently. I think I always get the title mixed up. I think it's About Time. It's about a father and son that can go back in time and relive each day if they want.
I think I've heard of this. Yeah,
it's an amazing movie, and what I love about it, it's really a romance movie. But there's a point where the son can't go back anymore because he's had a child.
Okay.
And then there's a point where his father's dying of cancer, so he can only go back one more time.
Okay.
But the whole moral of the story is that, you know, we go through days, you have bad days.
Yeah.
And in that moment, when you're interacting with, you know, getting a coffee, buying the newspaper, you can not be rude, but quite a people are often abrupt with the person they're engaging with.
Yeah.
And, you know, so what he did when he got to the end of a really tough day and he survived it, he'd go back and relive that day again. But this time he'd interact with people in a much more friendly way and try and enjoy it. And that, what I'm trying to do at my age now is trying to bring kindness into every conversation. And I've got a no dickhead policy. So I try to avoid anyone that's poisonous, and I'll give them a wide berth. But my goal is to engage. Hey, how you doing? You know, and talk. And I think, you know, because when we spoke on the phone, it was contagious. I could hear your smile. Does that make sense? I could hear it on the phone.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And it's, you know, I'm blessed. I get to meet great people like you.
That's such a good movie, though. I think it reminds people that, like, even though you can see that they get a chance to go back in the movie, that's not reality, you know.
It's not
so
reality.
you have to
do it now.
Yeah, every day is important, right? Yeah.
You know, like I've always been quite a naturally an aggressive person, and my mum died just over 2 years ago, and this fella just down the road is honking the horn at me, like aggressively, right? And I put my window down, and he's swearing and cursing at me, you effing this, you effing that. And I said to him, are you having a bad day? He goes, yeah, I'm flipping having a bad day, boom, boom. I said, I'm having a bad day too. I'm having a bad week. My mum's just died. She's seen his face. And I said, I'm sorry if I cut you up. I didn't, by the way, you know, and I'm a very good driver. And then he goes, no, you know. And it de-escalated everything. And you should have seen his face. He felt a lot of shame, I think, in that moment. Yeah. And then afterwards, I always remember one of my best friends used to say, kill them with kindness. But sometimes in the moment, it's not easy when someone's been rude or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I try to bring, is that positive energy.
Yeah. I think remembering little lessons or things that help you go through life the way you want, it's important, right, to remember them, but also giving yourself a bit of grace. You know, sometimes we're human, we can't always be perfect and go and even just abide by our own rules. Yeah, I think it's so difficult. You know, we have to. I'm
gonna play this part of the podcast back to my wife when she's complaining about me. I say, listen, no one's perfect. No, but you're spot on. Yeah. What's one thing that grounds you on a tough day? Because you must go through tough days, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure, it's life, right? What helps me ground myself? I think my partner helps me definitely ground. It's nice to have somebody to kind of talk to your problems about, just to sometimes even not talk about your problems, but
having met her, she's a ray of light. There's not, there's some people that have that. My wife has that as well. Yeah.
And I'm very grateful. I think it's just knowing that there's someone who understands what you're talking about, what you're going through, because we live together, right? So we do share a lot of what happens in daily life, and it's so important to have somebody to be there and
be in your corner.
Yeah, be in your corner to support you and support them back,
And lastly, what's the best advice that you've ever received? Maybe it was from your dad. I don't know. I'm curious.
Best advice. I've always remembered just this one thing that my coach used to say. So I've had a few different coaches, right? And at one point I had, when we had volunteer coaches early days, it was 7 different coaches at one time. And then we went into competitive swimming. I had Uncle Seong. And then when I went to Rio, I had Mick. So really a bunch of different coaches. But something that Uncle Seong said to me still sticks to this day, right? And it's just simple 3 words: let it go.
I love it.
Yeah, and I still remember it to this day because it's something that's so simple but so important. We hold on to things and it drags us down a lot of times. And I think something that I find really helpful is remembering let it go.
Did he write that song Frozen? Let it go, let it go.
I'm gonna ask him to sing it for me.
Listen, I can't sing. No, but and are there any projects or things that you're working on now that you want to share with us, or things that you're focusing on?
We're currently gearing up for World Paralympics Champs.
Yes.
First time we're holding the swimming championships, the World Champs in Singapore.
When is it?
In Asia. 21st to 27th of September.
Yes.
But tickets are mostly sold out, so you might
have
to
now?
rush. Yeah. If you want to come and watch, I do think it's a really, really amazing opportunity to come and watch athletes that you may not automatically see as athletes.
Yeah.
I think it's a great opportunity to have your mindset shifted. Look at something new, watch something new, something that could change your life even,
I love that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, are you involved? Are you just going along to champion people? Are you involved in any form of capacity?
I'm a staff, so I will be behind the scenes. We have held World Series events of World Paraswimming, where I was the color commentator. I've competed
How was it being a color commentator? It must have been fun, right?
So challenging.
Yeah, it's scary. A lot of stuff going on.
Talking. Yeah. And I was usually guided by somebody who was a professional commentator, but we had to do a lot of research. So making sure you know who the athlete we're talking about, kind of peppering it with fun facts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot of talking.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, it's not easy.
And then and the thing I think people overlook, because the world champs were here before this.
Oh, World Aquatics, yeah.
And I felt that they were just not advertised enough.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Because I found out about it when it was halfway through, and I just thought this is great because it's one of the rare events that Singapore can put on.
Yeah.
Because we don't have all the places to hold all these events, and this is one thing that Singapore can do. Yeah, and it's huge, right?
So now you get a second chance. World Paraswimming Champs. Come and watch.
I've got to get on it and book it online. It's through Cystic, right?
Yes, through Cystic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I've absolutely loved our chat. Thank you for bringing this. I've always dreamed of holding a medal from the Olympics. What a treasure. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Cheers.
You.